Twitch here and make sure that we are. Hey, Latin Groove's in the house. She's on chat again.
Cool. Oh god damn. Connect with Facebook then? Yeah, I always have a problem signing in to Twitch. God damn it. No, I don't want
language.
Facebook. Sorry. Boom, 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 boom.
Sorry, good.
Come on, Twitch. Come on, Twitchy, Twitchy, Twitchy. Yeah, I always have a problem.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we are rocking and rolling.
Sweet.
Okay, there we go. I think I've got everything working now, I think.
Awesome.
So, hi, chatters. How many people do we have in here floating around? Hey, we actually have 5 people in here floating around. How about that? Are you one of them? I can't tell.
Well, that's not letting me sign in, so...
What is your problem? What, you know, can't...
I have no idea. I think I fluke it off every time I sign in the chat, and I forget how I did it.
Can't you just, like, have it set so that you're always, like, in or something? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Wouldn't that be awesome? That would be awesome, eh?
Doesn't matter. So do you like my if you're watching the stream, this is the artificial 2-player mode where it looks like 2 opponents that are like grappling against each other, and I'm not going to like reveal that I'm just like sitting here, you know, running the controls myself. That's all right.
No, well, that never happens.
So tell me what you were starting to tell me more about this Bret Hart thing that you were watching on WWE Network, because I don't think I've seen this. I usually do a pretty good deep dive of all the content.
Yeah, it's from a DVD I think he released a couple years ago. It's called like Bret Hart, like matches from the dungeon or something from the dungeon, and it's a bunch of matches against high-profile like opponents like Austin and stuff like that. But it's really obscure matches that you might not have seen. You know, like I think there's a really good one with Austin at a Raw or something, and there's a match with him and Neidhart versus One Man Gang and Big Boss Man.
They said they had something like that with Hogan, and it was awesome because it was like, yeah, it was truly when he really was like, even before he was Hulk Hogan. They were showing a couple of his matches where he was, you know, it was fun. It's like, you know, Hogan wrestled a totally different style. You could tell that he could actually work a little bit.
Oh yeah, there's matches like this on the Bret Hart thing too, like. The first match is him versus Dynamite Kid in Stampede Wrestling up in Calgary. And like I said, I swear they're like in their early 20s, man. Like they're just kids. And it's funny because Bret even talks about it, how they filmed Stampede Wrestling was back in the day, they often didn't actually start televising the matches until they were a good 20 minutes in. And he's like, you know, him and his opponent will be just totally blown up, and people are thinking it's the beginning of the match, you know, but they've already been killing each other for 20 minutes, you know. So
I gotcha.
He said he often regrets that the Stampede library is missing a lot of the beginnings of matches, you know, because of the way the television was broadcast. But
interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm having fun. My favorite is blowing through these primetime wrestlings with Heenan and Gorilla. Oh my God, what a riot! I'm having so much fun. Like that to me is worth the price of admission alone.
I know. I don't know how they don't. They were so good together, man.
Yep.
So good together. It's a shame. In fact, I think didn't Bobby even say when he was inducted into the Hall? Yeah. When he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, he even mentioned that he wishes Gorilla was there. You know, I think they really got along well, man. God damn it, Twitch is not letting me sign in.
So what is it? Just email. For crying out loud. That's all right.
I'll get it.
What's up, Coltrane? See, it's nice seeing the same faces in and out every week. What did you guys talk about last week? I totally missed out. I was ill, and I may get some random cough action going. I'm trying to get over this stupid illness. So
we started by talking about crotch bulges.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that's what he was working on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know,
so
nothing but the best content for our fans.
Yeah, so Alex was busy doing that, and that character's coming along pretty good. And then we took a lot of good questions. People were asking some good stuff, you know.
Yeah, Alex is coming tonight. He's running a little late. He's got some stuff to do, but we'll be getting him in here shortly. So you won't have to just watch my, you know.
Yeah, I can't. It's probably not proper for me to say where Alex works for his day job, but he's got a big commute from downtown Vancouver, Burnaby area there. He's got to go all the way back out to Surrey, which is like, you know, even by SkyTrain, which is like the Vancouver subway, it's still like a good 45-minute jaunt.
He's one of the guys in our chat, RP Coltrane, looks like he's going to Global Wars, Ring of Honor's crossover with New Japan. I thought they had a big event tonight. And then I thought they had like a Tuesday, Wednesday thing, but I can't remember the full schedule on all this stuff. I think that's Global Wars. I can't keep them all straight. I watched that Raw alternative. It's too hard to say, but after Raw was broadcast last night, Beyond Wrestling's got a stream going on their YouTube channel, and it was wonderful. They had 5 indie matches of varying quality. But they were fun. I mean, these indie things. They had Necro Butcher wrestle a match that was pretty wild, and
really?
Boy, Candice LeRae and Tully's daughter. Boy, somebody help me in chat. I think is it Shannon Blanchard? It's Tessa Blanchard. I'm sorry, and they were great. She's only like 19 or something like that, but God, she looked great. And Candice is one of the best. You know, yep.
Damn, that's cool, man.
Yeah, so that was fun. I said I really wish they were broadcasting during Raw, because sometimes Raw is the stuff is you know, it's all good though. But thank you.
I wonder how they're doing. I wonder how they're doing business wise, because I mean, I was looking through my channel surfing the other day, and I see, you know, TNA pay-per-view and Ring of Honor's pay-per-view is even listed there, you know, and I'm thinking, man, how is pay-per-views competing now when you've got WWE Network for like dirt cheap, and it's just like more wrestling than a wrestling nerd like me can even watch.
Well, I thought, and what's funny is Smart Mark Video has video on demand now too, where you can you can stream all those indie specials, and I thought about doing that for a month and get my indie fix. Because it's the service we've been wanting for a really long time, where it's like just WWE, but only with all the indie stuff. So,
wow, man,
but so I was going to look at that, and then New Japan Pro Wrestling just created they always had their own network going, but their English version, I guess, is much better now. And so
cool.
You're able to log in and watch all the old New Japan stuff. So, geez, how cool is that?
Yeah, somebody was mentioning the New Japan to me, and I keep meaning to look into it, because if it's in English, God, I'm never leaving the house.
Well, they have what it is their like their login and stuff has like an English version, but I think only a chunk of their things are in Japanese. But even that's still fun to watch, just the Japanese commentary. But because they have that New Japan World or whatever it's called on that God, it's kind of an obscure channel. I don't get it. My mom got it down in Florida of all things, and I couldn't believe it. And so that was fun to watch. And they just post old classic New Japan stuff. It's like, geez.
What I like, we've got the Fight Network up here, which has been up and down business-wise, this digital specialty channel. But back when they started and they were funded like 10 years ago, they went and they bought all of this Japanese and Mexican content from all of the Indian big federations out there for rebroadcast. And then they paid a couple of announcers to re-announce everything.
Redub them, right? Yep.
Yeah, and one of them was Mauro Ranallo, which he does all the does a lot of MMA and boxing and stuff now, and he's just He's an old school wrestling announcer out of like Vancouver, and he just made a big announcing MMA and boxing. And like, yeah, if you switch on the Fight Network, you can get it up in Canada, I think, for 99 cents. A lot of it's outdated because I don't think they've licensed any new content for years. But they did a great 3-hour Hayabusa marathon from FMW and stuff. Oh, it was fantastic, man! Seeing all this Japanese stuff and actually having 2 English announcers who were knowledgeable in the storylines and everything, kind of explain what's going on. You know, as much as I like to say it's all about the wrestling and the action in the ring, it really does make a difference when the announcer can add some color to the proceedings, you know?
Yeah, the Raw this week was decent. The wrestling on Raw has been decent. The matches have been pretty good for the most part. There have been a couple of clunkers, but the overall work rate, it seems like it's better. They had a really good match between Cena and Neville. I don't know how. Did you watch NXT or did you watch any NXT?
Oh yeah, I got NXT.
Yeah, and Neville's the high flyer, and Cena was kind of cool. He fought Sami Zayn last week, and that was a fun match. And
shit all over it. Somebody crapped all over it. I think it was yeah, who was it?
No, it was a fun match because
Russo on Twitter crapped all over it.
Who did?
Something about Vince Russo. On Twitter, he crapped all over it. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this right. And yeah, he's just going on about how the internet got what it's wanted. Big effing deal. No one's going to watch it.
Well, but he's just trolling. No, it was fun because they were in Montreal. And he kind of came out as a kind of a surprise, because Cena does kind of like an open challenge, so you never really know if like who's it's going to be, and so the crowd went bananas. And now, see, I couldn't tell if this was work or shoot, but supposedly Zayn hurt himself coming out because he kind of comes out and does like a kind of like gets the crowd all riled up, and supposedly he hurt his shoulder doing one of these taunts, or kind of trying to get the crowd hyped up, and he was like dinged up for the match. Now Zayn is such a good worker that he's got that believability, whether it's a work or a shoot, you never really can quite tell. But that was the rumor anyway, that he was actually having like an MRI and all that stuff.
No kidding, eh? And Daniels, he gave up the belt legit, eh? He's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, it was funny because Meltzer even announced it before Raw that he was coming back and like returning to full-time action. And so when he came out and kind of gave a pretty emotional speech, it was kind of hard. I was kind of surprised, but yeah, he laid down the belt and walked away with tears in his eyes, because he went in for one more MRI, and the doctors right now don't know if he's out another week, another 2 weeks, 2 months, or if he's done. And I personally, not that I'm rooting for it, but I'm kind of to the point now where I really think he's got to retire. I think I want him to be healthy, and
yeah, we all do. He's got so much more in him, but
he's a young guy, and he's just got married, and you want him to be like upright. You look at all these guys like Dynamite and all these guys that wrestled that same kind of style, and they're just like they're in wheelchairs, and I feel for the guy. Like, what else does he have to prove? And I don't know. I hope he takes care of his just takes care of himself at this point, and doesn't try to push anything, or because he could always come back and just do specials, or not even wrestle anymore, but just be a personality or something. He's going to coach that Tough Enough, which I think will kind of help a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ooh, I had my first Phantom Brainbuster. I've been playing the game. I had my first Jedi Force Brainbuster. It's been working pretty good here tonight, but it's still the old version. But that's all right.
Yeah.
Because last week, are you still trying to log in?
No, I mean, last week you had Alex. He booted up and was showing people some stuff. All our moves that we hope to make it in the game.
That's right.
Yeah, we be waiting for Cola. It's weird. Pro Wrestling X has been struggling along for years, right? We finally, we release Uprising a couple years ago. We get on Steam, and our page gets deleted from Wikipedia.
Say what?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I don't know. I just noticed it the other day. I'm like, oh, well, okay.
Was there like an active just said no, nothing entered?
Yeah, nothing here. No such article. Pro
Huh.
Wrestling it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I know. Not like we got like a kind of traffic.
Amazing Reds in channel. Oh yes. I've only got limited hours of virtual pro wrestling under my belt, but I believe Dave has much more than I do. I've only played it a little bit, and I think that was
Which
even
one?
on an emulator. Virtual Pro Wrestling 2.
Oh yeah. I'm one of those who actually ordered it from Japan and sat there with my Dremel tool carving it out so it would fit in the North American N64.
See, that's the thing is, I think I only played it in an emulator. I think.
Yeah, well, I got it on emulator too, and that's fun because then you can enter in the Game Shark stuff, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, that's fun, man.
We had a question: is the new programmer good to go for getting started on the project? Wheels in motion, slowly but surely.
We do have candidates, plural programmers. We're just doing our job of vetting them and making sure we check references and testing them out,
We have to
making
do all
sure
the grown-up
everything is
stuff.
cool. Yeah.
Because this stuff's hard. I mean, like I said, just in terms of making sure we got the right personality fit, we got to make sure that they've got the availability, they've got all that stuff. So listen, we have to ask all the right questions, and sometimes that takes a little while to just, and then talk to a lot of the other members of the crew and all that stuff to make sure that the fit's good. And so we're working on it.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do what you got to do, man. I wish everything went smoother and faster, but you know what? If we had to wait this long and go through this many people to finally find a pro wrestling gamer, a pro wrestling lover programmer, then that's fine. I wish it could have happened sooner, but it is what it is, I often find it funny when people. Actually, Patrick at Review Fix asked me about this. What do you say to all the haters? It's been like 10 years, and I'm thinking, what's your point? I know what they mean. It's been 10 years, but the implication is what isn't said there. It's like it's been 10 years and you haven't finished this big wrestling game yet. Well, that's true, but it's not for lack of trying. We could have quit every time something went wrong, and then the story would have been. 10 years ago they tried, they didn't do it, and they quit. And I don't see how that's a better story. I'd rather
plug
keep
your.
feeling.
Why don't you tell? Yeah, plug your interview with Review Fix. Like tell what kind of questions do you ask? I mean, you don't have to spoil the whole interview, or just give a little background on what our relationship is and who Patrick is and all that stuff.
Yeah, if you go over to our Facebook page, I posted a link. He split it up into two parts, but Patrick is he's a journalist out in New York, and he started just kind of like a video game pop culture website called Review Fix. It's reviewfix.com.
Yeah, he's always been really supportive of the indie wrestling game scene.
Yeah, it's not just us. Like he's been promoting all the indie guys, the Action Arcade, Mad Dickie, the 5-Star guys. He has interviewed each of us multiple times, trying to help out the indie scene. So he's been really good that way, and he's really fair as well. He is, I think, shamelessly supportive of what we're trying to do. But at the same time, he doesn't shy away from asking the ugly questions, but what's on everybody's mind kind of thing. So
how long is the interview? We got a question in chat, like how long he said the one that he posted today was only 2 minutes long.
Yeah, he posted part 2 today. It was only 2 minutes long. The rest of it, we chatted for about 20 minutes, and the link for part 1 was broken.
Is that the one? Oh, so okay. I'm sorry. I for some reason I thought that first one was just a preview, and then the link you said yesterday, or like you showed today, was just was like the full interview. All right, that's my bad.
Yeah, no, the one that he posted where he says, Pro Wrestling X addresses haters or whatever like that. That's technically, I think, part 2.
Oh, all right.
Of the interview. Part 1, he posted a link to it and it was broken. I'm just going to see if I can scrolling through his stuff here, seeing if I can find part 1. He does so many. Oh wait, you know what? I think you're right. It is short because I think he's calling this a sneak peek. I think it might just be short snippets of the interview. I got a link here. I'm not sure where I should be posting it. File not found again. Damn it, Patrick, if you're listening, it's still not working yet. Oh well, we'll get that fixed up. Or, well, he'll get it fixed up. It's on his website.
Well, what kind of stuff did he touch on? Give a little, you know.
Well, we talked about, what we've been doing, what's the current situation, what's the behind the scenes current status of the game, like where it is and what we intend to do, right? So he interviewed me at a good time because as we know, we've been reaching out and getting help from potentially some new programmers coming on board to help us, because our current programmer Mike, he's swamped with the dream day job, and he's lucky if he's got an hour or two a week to put into it, and that's just not going to get the game made, right? So we've been looking for other programming help, and as luck would have it, and like I was able to tell Patrick,
somebody in chat, Sammy G posted, looks like a potential link for part 1 there, so you may want to take a look.
Yeah, but I'm not sure the actual audio works. If it does, great. Go have a listen. I think it was a good interview. But yeah, we just, I think I mentioned in my last newsletter, like Eric and I were talking, I'd say it was about a month or two ago, and you and I were, it's not that we're not always super optimistic and upbeat and taking on the world, but you and I were even sitting going, oh man, it's been so long since our last update, and there's nothing you or I can do about it. We're not programmers, and we feel so helpless, and we're like, we were kind of making a bullet point list of, let's design and describe, like weird science, what would the perfect Pro Wrestling X crew member look like? You know what I mean? Like, what are the characteristics of the perfect crew member to add to Pro Wrestling X, right? And we gotta love wrestling for one. We've learned that you can't make a good wrestling game if you think wrestling is stupid. It's just not going to work, right? And it sounds like a stretch, but we said, you gotta actually understand and the Aki wrestling games like No Mercy and even the Def Jam games, and not only that, but like be a nerd about it and understand why those games were fun, and
or at least respect it, because like I said, I can't hang at certain levels with this stuff, but I have enough of an overview to be able to like converse. I was a No Mercy guy. I liked No Mercy quite a bit.
Sure. Well, that's what we said, right? You got to be that, and of course you got to have experience programming in that. Wrestling games, we're not talking about modding a first-person shooter here, or a Skyrim mod or something. As cool as that is, and as much talent as that takes, wrestling games are a different beast entirely, which is why there's like, you can count the indie wrestling game developers on one hand, as opposed to the first-person shooter wrestling or indie developers. You know what I mean? It's another beast entirely. And you look at that list and you think, man, if this person exists, they're probably already working for somebody else, or we can't afford them. You know what I mean? But as luck would have it, I heard from someone who fit the bill, and even Alex is working with someone who wants to jump in and help, and they all seem to fit the bill, so we've been pretty lucky, kind of crossing our fingers and thinking this is too good to be true. We've even been playing some playable demos from potential candidate here, and thinking, damn, this doesn't suck. This person actually knows how a wrestling game should work, and they got a ton of stuff working that even we don't have working in our game, right? So we're taking our time, making sure that we don't jump in too fast. We've made some mistakes in the past with hiring too quickly and getting burned, and if we've waited this long, we can wait a couple days to make sure that we're not hiring an axe murderer or something, right?
Yeah, or at least like, if they're at least going to be an axe murderer, can they like hold out for like the next couple of years and not get caught to like get our game out? So,
yeah,
not that the Pro Wrestling X does not endorse axe murdering in any shape, form, capacity.
Well, it's kind of like, the disadvantage we have over some of our friends in the indie game development scene is that, without exception, even at 5-Star, I think the guys who started the project were programmers. So they were able to make, like Dave Horn, Matt, and 5-Star, they were able to actually code playable versions of their idea of a good wrestling game fairly early on, and then bring on artists and people to help build out the project, right? Where we did it kind of backwards. We were the dreamers and the designers, and if we don't have a programmer working for us, we get nothing done.
Well,
right?
I can tell you, I do a lot of work with like the startup community here in West Michigan, and this is not unusual. It's not unusual to have a lot of like the talent, or a lot of them. You have a lot of idea people, but it's always short supply for like the devs. I mean, that's always the case. So I mean, we're very much in, if you're calling it a startup or whatever you want to call it. I mean, this is what happens, because they said there's everybody's got ideas, but it's hard finding good dev talent. It really is.
Well, it is too. Yeah, exactly. And like when you and I are kind of the face of the project, we're on social media, Twitter and Facebook, and we do the newsletters. We take the heat if programming's not getting done, even though we're not the programmers, right? And I'm not trying to pass the buck or deflect blame or anything, but it can be frustrating when you're sitting there going, man, I would be programming updates if I knew how, if I could.
Well, and like I said, I've got a programming background in terms of like websites and stuff, but I have to have I went down that road of trying to learn Unity or trying to learn it, and I get it to an extent. But the degree of knowledge of being able to just step in and like, oh, I'll just go ahead and just start making updates myself. Well, the hell with that. That ain't going to work. Because I said, I just don't have that. I don't have that skill set yet. I can't come up, as much as I would love to, you just can't, step right into active development that a 20-year vet can do, So.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's kind of been a blessing and a curse, like while we've been looking for help to join the programming end of the crew.
Some questions from chat. Joe Dreadford, you guys are the PX team. Have you ever actually formed a company? Oh yes. This has been an official venture for what, over 10 years plus?
Yep. 2003 we made it official. I think, yeah.
Because we had an official company in Wishbone X, which was technically the stupid Dave, hey, when we can't think of anything, take a name and just like stick the name X at the end of it and call it.
It was meant to be temporary, yeah.
Well, tell everybody the story, because it sounds like we have a lot of newbies in chat here. Like what the hell got this whole thing started?
Oh, well, it was funny. Like the name of the company, we originally incorporated, and the company name was just slapped on there, Wishbone X, and that's because way back in the day, this project got started because I was complaining about WrestleMania X8 for GameCube, right? And I was on the GameFAQs message forums way back in the day complaining about this game. And my last name's Wisnowski, and a friend of mine, she always thought it was funny to nickname and call me Wishbone all the time, right? So I was going to pick my username for GameFAQs. Wishbone was taken. So, yeah, what's standard procedure if something's taken? Add an X. So Wishbone X. Wishbone X became my username on GameFAQs. So when it came time to incorporate the company, the lawyer was like, you need a name. I'm like, well, I don't really have one yet. And he's like, doesn't matter. You can change it later. Pick anything. So I put Wishbone X, and of course, being lazy, that stuck forever,
Yep.
So lesson to be learned there. Take your time.
Well, and so because we're technically now our Wrestling Gamers United, we kind of had a name change there.
Yeah, we've reverted back to Wrestling Gamers United. Back to our roots.
Yep. So we're all completely official. We pay taxes and have accountants and lawyers and all this kind of crap, and we're not just some couple of hobbyists trying to do this in our free time. Like so this is a legitimate business. I'm gonna use that in air. No, it is a legitimate business. I'm supposed to say I want to put that in air quotes, but it's like, no, wait a minit. That's what gets us in trouble. It's like when people start calling us, that we're con artists and all this stuff. It's like, Jesus Christ. I always say, if we're con artists, we're doing this wrong. Where's my private island?
Yeah, can I get my money back from the accountant? Because so far, the people that have made the most money off of this project has been lawyers and accountants, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's exactly the way it always is.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that sounds like it. So that definitely tells you that we're grown-ups, that we've given too much money to lawyers and...
Yeah.
Although to be fair, you are probably broadcasting from your basement right now, right?
Well, just like they say in the chat room, yeah, right next to my washing machine.
That's right.
I am 5 feet from my washing machine, man. It's not even running. I'm being a professional tonight and not running the washing machine.
Good times. I said one of these days. Well, I mean, I'm in my second bedroom of my apartment, with shit everywhere, and I got my my nice Pro Wrestling X shirts on the wall over here. So,
man, here's a loaded question. 2 simple words. Why lawyers?
Oh God, how long do you have?
Yeah. Is this going to be a 6 hour?
Does Twitch have enough hours in their broadcasting schedule to allow us to welcome? I mean, like, seriously, because a lot of people probably don't know what goes into being a video game company. They see, the graphics and the coding and all that stuff, but what kinds of things does a lawyer have to do?
Originally it starts off, innocently enough, but when you form a company, you need a lawyer to do it, a corporate lawyer to actually set up the share structures. Well, you don't, but you do if you want to sleep at night and make sure you did it right.
Well, so my business was just a straight up LLC and took me 20 minutes through a website. But again, you have to remember too that this was 2003. That this is before a lot of that stuff became was available online. So you really did have to have a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. When you're setting up a company, like if you're just one person, what they call a sole proprietorship, then it's pretty simple. But I was setting up the game company here knowing that I was going to be raising money by selling stock and shares in the company. And
this is very true. That's right. Because we're not technically an LLC. We're a corp or whatever.
Yeah, we are a what do you call it? You're exactly.
You're an LLC, but not a single member LLC. Yeah. Sorry. Wow, isn't this thrilling Twitch talk night? But I'll keep going though.
But so the lawyer set us up that way, set up the stock in the company and all that. It's all fun, exciting stuff. And then you end up finding that lawyers come in handy.
Because you need non-disclosure agreements for employees. You need contracts. You need basic kinds of things for publishing agreements, and especially in the early days. I mean, we're all kind of spoiled now where we're like, hey, an indie guy can just go straight to Steam and everything's cool. But back in our day, we had to start with, like trying to find a distribution, center. Like, okay, so a store's got to stock us. And so, a store, potentially would send us agreements, and you got to make sure that those are kosher because, they're going to try to squeeze as much money out of you. And if you don't have anybody representing you, you could end up signing a really bad deal. So
yeah, well, that's funny because, back...
I've always heard the phrase that a lawyer makes you money; it doesn't cost you money.
Yeah,
that's what I've always heard.
No, back in the day, our first major source of funding was we got a loan from Telefilm Canada, which is like an agency that loans money to film production companies and, at the time, video game companies, and they loaned us some money, and I took the agreement over to the lawyer to have him look it over, and the lawyer politely informed me, this is the single worst piece of written contract I've ever seen, and as your lawyer, I cannot advise you to sign this. So I signed it, and I took the money, and that began a very painful period in Pro Wrestling X's history when I had to deal with that type of funding. Oh God, it was so bureaucratic. Taking a loan from a government-sponsored agency, man, talk about bureaucracy. I think my full-time job was doing paperwork and going back and forth trying to get all the money in the agreement. And the lawyer came in handy there. But somebody said in chat, they thought the lawyer was because of ex-contractors, and the lawyers come in handy there a couple times. Things don't always go well. I talked recently on Facebook about how people come and leave the project, and 9 times out of 10, when people leave Pro Wrestling X, it's still on pretty friendly terms. They go on to other opportunities or whatever, and it's all good. But every once in a while, things go sour, and there's my side of the story and somebody else's side of the story, and sadly, we're grown-ups and we're not just calling names in the schoolyard or anything, and things can get really serious and really ugly when police start getting involved and there's threats made and stuff. This isn't like, message forum trolling or bullying. Sometimes you need a lawyer to step in and put fires out, you know. And I wish things didn't get that way, but they do, and that's what a lawyer's for. So,
Hey,
without getting into too much detail,
I'm ringing our caller is in.
Hey, Cola. Somebody said they would buy stock in Wrestling Gamers United. Well, you might want to Google us first.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, well, you know, you maybe. Well, hey, get in while it's cheap, you know, or whatever, you know.
Oh, actually, you know what? What we're doing right now, I think, is illegal. I don't think you can legally. You can't legally even mention that you have stock for sale if you're a privately held company.
Well, then we're just gonna pretend the last 5 minutes didn't exist.
Never happened. Yeah,
And we're all good with that, huh, chat? Chat, everybody's cool. Like nothing happened there.
Yeah. You can't
Sorry,
solicit.
FCC.
You cannot solicit. You cannot solicit stock sales publicly.
Well, we can't. They
unless you
can't
are-
buy it, so we're fine.
Unless you are a publicly traded company. You got to be on the stock exchange, you know. The only way, in fact, when I sold stock to people, they had to sign like written disclaimers saying they knew me personally before they became involved financially with the company. In other words, I didn't just hit them up for money out of nowhere. They knew me personally, and we talked about the company and the opportunity and that beforehand as friends. You know what I mean? Before they actually became investors. So you actually have to. You got to do that.
Yeah, Cola, whenever you got a screen to share, let me know. I can rearrange the
I
window.
do.
Hey,
Do you
Cola!
want to share through Skype, or do you want me to do a cast?
I just go ahead and fire it through Skype. I'm running the broadcast here, so.
Hey, Cola, share the scaffold match with the flaming barbed wire where you throw people and everything collapses and breaks and explodes. Show that.
Excuse me?
Just kidding.
This
I'm
exists?
Joking.
Yeah.
As the chat room melts down.
Yeah, I was just going to say that well, it wasn't just chat room. It was, Eric dropped the load in his pants, too, so. That's all right. That's all right.
But yeah. So we're kind of, we kind of been in limbo. I was cruising the Steam forums lately, and that gets kind of, I guess, discouraging. You know, when you haven't put in an update in a while, what's going to happen? Well, then the people who say you're an early access scam and not updating, they kind of get ammunition. You know what I mean? When you haven't updated in a while, so. I'm constantly going in there, and I'm trying to say, no, we're really working on it. Come check out Twitch, and you'll see us do stuff, and we'll answer questions and whatnot. So I'm really trying to get people, even the ones who are angry and upset that we haven't updated in a while, come on to Twitch and just talk to us, ask questions. We'll show you what we're working on. You know, like we're not hiding from anybody. We're not running away from our responsibilities to work on our game, man. We're working on it over here. We just haven't been able to push anything up to Steam for a while, but hopefully that's going to change as our programming team seems to, knock on wood, be growing. So it's all good. Alex,
Sounds
did you get
good.
a chance to play? Alex, did you get a chance to play that programmer's demo there?
Yeah, man. I did get a chance. I figured it out. It was, yeah.
Got a lot of
I did.
He's got a lot
Yeah,
of
man.
mechanics working. If we give him the right content and good animations and stuff, I think we might be able to. He might be able to help us flesh out the core gameplay nice and smoothly if he works that quickly and does that kind of work. So
Yeah,
Kinda
man.
hard to
and it'd
just-
See,
be,
we got some good peeps here in chat tonight. They're like pumping us up here. I love this.
good because I
Show
just
us
went
the
through-
accounting books. Shut up, Sammy.
Hey, sure. You want to see the financials? I think I got them kicking around on my hard drive.
God, a lot of
always have a
minus
heart
signs. I
attack.
can tell you that right now.
People have a heart attack. They look at our books, like especially people who are like, oh, I wish I was running an indie game company. How much can that cost? That must be fun. And they look at my books and they see that I had to pay an accountant $15,000 for an audit of my own project. It's like, Jesus, you had to pay 15 grand out of your pocket just for an accountant? And I'm like, yeah, and that's not even,
See, Dave, we should have gone into accounting. What is this video game bullshit?
I can't do it, man. Like whenever I sign a check over to my accountant, it's like money well spent because I could not look at what they look at day in and day out, man. The numbers, like I did when we did the telefilm application, I did the budget and the cash flow statements. I did all of that by myself. I didn't have any help doing that, and I'm not a I'm not an accountant, right? Oh man, that was stressful getting everything to balance, and I hope.
Well, I mean, that's
again.
why it's smart to just like when you have like just hire professionals that are like that do this sort of thing for a living. Like they end up saving so much time and energy. It just I mean, it ends up because you end up burning through all kinds of stuff. Just doing it, trying to do it yourself, and then you don't want to make mistakes on something like that.
No,
You don't want like the tax man to come. I'm assuming the Canadian IRS is just as bad as the American one, and that's why my business is like shit. I give them anything they want. Just okay, it's all good.
The Canadian, we've got this reputation of being all warm and fuzzy and friendly, but the income tax and the revenue portion of the government is no friendlier than the IRS, man. I know a game company that two guys ran an independent game company, and they had a good year. They got a little bit of funding, but they didn't submit their source deductions on time. Source deductions is like, when you get your paycheck, it always says, a couple bucks taken off for income tax, a couple bucks taken off for pension or whatever, right? Well, the company is supposed to take that money and forward it along to the government. And this game developer, I thought, we don't want to give that money to the government yet. We're going to use it to buy something else, and we'll pay them next month, right? But you can't do that. In fact, you can't do that to the extent that the Canadian government actually looked at this company, looked at who the owners of the company were, and they went into the owners' personal bank accounts and emptied them to get their money.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, needless to say, those owners' wives weren't very happy when the rent was due and bounced. Oh man, were they panicking. I saw they were actually running down the street to the bank machine trying to get money before everything was frozen.
God.
I felt for him, man. Oh God. That's why.
Yeah, so do you guys want to run a game company?
Yeah. I remember some of the advice I got, I used to go hang out there at Radical Entertainment when Ian was running it, and I was asking him for advice, and he was like, the best and most important piece of advice he can give is always pay the government before you pay anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah, there's stories of companies in Vancouver like they'll owe $1 million to the government because they didn't submit their taxes or something, and the government will just show up one day, and back a truck up to the studio and just start loading equipment and everything into it to go pawn it. It's theirs. It's legally theirs. If you owe them tax money, they own you, so
yeah, Reds, I would definitely like to get to Toronto. I was visited there once about 20 years ago, and it was a pretty kick-ass city. I would definitely love to go back. I'm relatively close, being here in Michigan, and I would love to make another road trip to Toronto sometime.
I was in Toronto once when the Fight Network had me down in Toronto to look at. They were going to do a wrestling game or something, and they had me down there. I'd never been to Toronto before, so I'm walking around downtown, never been to Toronto, and I turned the corner, and it was like I could hear like the trumpets playing, and the light came down from heaven. As I look up and I see this marquee that says "Evil Dead the Musical."
Oh God, nice.
And, oh my God! And I was there, and it was Sunday, and they weren't playing.
Ah, hell.
Jesus. I sat there with my nose pressed up against the door, like, please. They're actually remaking Evil Dead, eh? They're doing Netflix is doing it or something.
Really?
They're doing a series.
I can't keep up. Netflix keeps generating new content. It's awesome.
Well, you're all about the Full House reboot, eh?
But hey, So, Chris Law, where are you from in Michigan, brother? I can't remember, because I'm on the west side.
West Side? How come nobody's saying that? Come on.
No, we're not doing that. I'm not nearly cool enough, and then it's also like not 1992.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh no! Come on, man. God, nobody's gonna come back and watch us again.
when you guys hire the right guy, will the part-time original programmer still be working on the game? Well, not that. I don't know how much we can get into behind the scenes wheeling and dealing we're making, but yeah, we're looking to grow the team, not just replace anybody necessarily. Our original programmer that got us to Steam, he's very good. He has a very particular set of skills, and I would hope that he, and he said he would, continue helping us in areas where we need it. What we're looking at with the new guy is getting someone to focus 100% on core gameplay, adding moves and move slots and features to the actual exhibition match side of things. So our new programmer, when we bring him aboard, he's not going to be doing a lot of features except for working on the core gameplay, adding the strong, weak striking, the back grapples, the ground strikes, ground submissions, turnbuckle moves, running attacks. That's what the new programmer is going to work on. We got I don't know, how much I should say, but have a little come to Jesus meeting with everybody in the chat room. But when we were working on the game for Steam, in hindsight, I think we spent a disproportionate amount of time working on stuff that had nothing to do with gameplay. While those things ended up looking cool, I guess, and I'm glad we did things like the language support and that, they didn't help gameplay. I would have rather, in hindsight, our game loaded up with just one big red start button, boom, and you start a match, and there was more stuff to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is all hindsight, and it's hard.
Yeah.
To put, these are all. I mean, that's the thing. Is God, we make mistakes. These are decisions you make early on, and you're taking a best guess, and sometimes it doesn't work. So we're working our way through it. And yep.
At least we're not repeating mistakes necessarily. We're making all new ones, all new glorious mistakes.
Oh, so Crystal is in Westland. So I had a buddy of mine who lived in Livonia. College roommates lived in Livonia, which is just a little north in Westland out there. He's out towards Detroit in that neck of the woods. So I don't get over there too much. I'd like to get over there, see a couple of Tigers games this year, but probably not for a little while yet. So
I'd love to go to Detroit, man. Is it really? I watch Detroit news and that, and they make it sound like the place is entirely a bankrupt wasteland. Is that bad?
Parts of it are. I don't like when you kind of like downtown used to really be the shits. And there are certain areas of downtown that are still pretty bad, like kind of near some of the casinos, near Joe Louis Arena and all that stuff. It's kind of a shithole down there. But there's a couple of really rich guys. One guy is Dan Gilbert, who's from Cleveland, but he's been buying up tons and tons and tons of Detroit real estate because he can get it on the cheap. And they're working on a new hockey arena, and so the areas down by the football field, Ford Field, and the baseball, Comerica Park, are really nice. They have a really nice Fox Theater down there, which is historic, and that area is relatively safe. But when you start venturing out there, Detroit turns pretty sour in a hurry. And then the burbs of Detroit are all some of them are good and some of them are bad. You've got some that are really, really ritz, really, really ritzy, and some that are just, oh my God, dear Lord, no way.
Well, I mean, is the city infrastructure? I mean, they're still picking up garbage, right, and working on,
Yeah. I mean, it's still functional. They kind of went through a bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff, trying to kind of get the books straightened around, but. They said it's kind of like what it is with any big city. Is there's budget shortfalls, and then there was a whole, there's a lot of people that were trying to get the hell out of there, so there wasn't a lot of real tax revenue, and so you're kind of relying on private money to kind of fix up a lot of this stuff, and but like I said, that's kind of what it is with all the big cities nowadays. Is you kind of have some that are just in really, really some areas that are really in rough shape, and others not so much. It was kind of hot there for a while, where you just seemed like all this. They would call it. What did they call it? Just like poverty porn, where it's just like it's just nothing but abandoned buildings, and oh my God, is this downtown Beirut or is this like downtown Detroit, and all these things, and some of that stuff really distorted it quite a bit. Not to say that it's not really shitty, but it was kind of hot there for like a hipster hangout for a while there. There's a lot of how far off before Detroit gets RoboCop. You could make an argument. They tried to fund a statue
They did,
in fact,
didn't
they did. In fact, I believe they actually pulled it off. I don't know if it actually went up or not, but there was a Kickstarter I know that actually actively tried to get funds together for a RoboCop statue.
Wow. You know what I wanted to do? It's kind of in the same vein, but I I don't want to beg people for money anymore. But I always thought it was a shame when I went to visit Calgary for the first time a few years ago, that the Stampede, the Calgary Stampede grounds, and the Calgary Pavilion, Stampede Pavilion, where Stu Hart ran Stampede Wrestling for like 40 years. There's not even so much as a picture or a poster commemorating the fact that Stampede Wrestling was there. I mean, that's where Bret Hart learned to wrestle, and everybody came through town, man. Like bloody.
Andre the Giant, all Kamala,
Andre,
all those guys. Yep.
The Funks and Harley Race and everybody. Jake Roberts trained there. I mean, it's crazy. So I thought, man, the buildings are turning out to be relatively permanent. They should fund like a statue of Stu Hart for out front. Like why the hell not? So I don't know what it would take to get something like that done. I don't think I'm the guy to go publicly begging for money for anything, but I wish somebody would take it up. Like, geez, most of his kids are there. I've talked to most of the Hart family about doing something like this, but it was like 5 years ago that I mentioned it. But yeah, I'm rambling. But anyway, we need a statue of Stu Hart.
No, I have not seen the new Iron Sheik movie. I heard it was actually pretty tremendous.
Really?
Yep. I know it. I said I think it's out there as far as Netflix goes, but I have yet to track it down. So.
Oh, I got to go looking for that, man. Man, there are some terrible, terrible documentaries. I think Netflix is I think there's entire production companies that exist to do nothing but dump low-budget documentaries onto Netflix,
Well, I don't know. I saw one. I've got one bookmarked. It's called Wrestling with Jesus, and it's a guy who's like becoming like an independent wrestler, but he's also like it's like a religious-based promotion. And
I've heard
it's
of
like
this.
I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm ready for this or not. But it's been sitting in that queue, and anytime I ever have anybody over and we load up Netflix, everybody's like, yeah, your queue is really weird. And yeah, they're like, oh, the Wrestling for Jesus, yeah, because I'll have like Wrestling with Shadows and all this stuff, and it's like pretty much anything wrestling related, and gets all the chicks.
I think my favorite is Beyond the Mat. Still to this day, I think that's one of the best documentaries. Just covers the highs and lows. I don't know if you remember Beyond the Mat, but it's the one that they were covering.
Yeah, that's the one where
WWF.
Jake was looking really bad, right?
Yeah, where Jake is like terrible and meeting his daughter for like the first time or something. And
Yeah, he was battling his demons and all that kind of stuff, and
yeah, that's really good. But that Beyond the Mat too with Brett is.
oh yeah, that's my favorite.
My favorite scene in that one was this is just right before the screw job, and Brett's talking about going to WCW, and he's not getting treated right by McMahon, and he's standing there in the ring with his dad Stu, and Brett says something along the lines of, I just want to get through this with my self-respect intact, right? And Stu Hart, ever the blunt father, looks at him and goes, "What respect? You don't have any self-respect." I'm like, really?
No, that's not what he said. I don't think that's what he said.
He did. He was like, "No, you don't have."
I thought he said if you don't have your self-respect, you don't have anything. I don't think he didn't. I don't think he said that he told Brett he didn't have any respect. I gotta go. I'll go check that out.
I think by that point, even Stu was fed up with the way that Vince was treating the family and treating them. So.
No, because I remember the scene you're talking about.
Speaking even harsher along that line, if anyone has seen it, I know the WWE did a documentary on World Class Championship Wrestling, right?
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. There's an independent one that somebody did, which is like twice as good as the WWE kind of sanitized version, right? Rewriting history. And I forget which of the brothers it is, but I think it was Kerry Von Erich had just shot himself out in the field, right? And yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? One of the brothers comes back, and one of the brothers is telling his dad, Dad, Kerry just killed himself or something like that. And the dad looks to the son, he says something along, if you had any guts, you would have done it too. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, parenting award goes to the Von Erichs. Jesus.
Yeah, that's some of these wrestling families, man. Yeah, I saw the. Did you see the E60 on the developmental with NXT?
No.
This was something that ESPN did. They have like these little mini documentaries that they film. They're like an hour long. And,
is that the story I'm reading about the one journalist or correspondent
yes.
who says she's no longer a fan or something after a while?
Well, okay, hang on. That's the separate story. But
okay.
This one it's kind of like it's a documentary, and they do this on all kinds of like specials. It's basically they just take an hour to go over a particular topic, and this particular episode was about NXT and kind of how like superstars developed, and they went back like 2 years following some of these guys like Adam Rose and Xavier Woods, and there was a couple more that they followed along, and it was kind of heartbreaking because like Adam Rose, like he never really got over real well. He had kind of a fun, gimmick where all the characters come out, all that kind of stuff. But it turns out he's got like this kid that's, like they have to feed him through a tube and all this stuff, and it was really, really sad. And it's like, God, and like, because he was, he was going along with the gimmick for like 4 years in NXT and developmental, and he wasn't quite getting over, and so they just literally hey, by the way, you're going to be Adam Rose and turn him heel or like turn him face. And he was talking about like how he had so much on the line that it's like, this is the only thing he knows how to feed his family. And you could see how stressed out he is, and you could see how like it's got to work, and how he went out that first NXT as Adam Rose and with the rosebuds and all this stuff, and he got over, and he was really, really emotional backstage, and because you just kind of throw it all on the line. And so I had a completely different view of that guy. And the Xavier Woods is the same thing. He's like this guy who's trying to be the first wrestler that's got like a PhD and all this stuff. And so it was very good. It was a little bit sanitized. Bill DeMott was made to look really, really good, and at the end of the little epilogue, they're like, yeah, this guy was suspended for abusive conduct, and they put it in quotes, like you're just like, like it was total BS. So that was a little sanitized, and but they had some interesting quotes from Vince and all this stuff, and so it was interesting.
What do you think about the whole abusive conduct thing? Do you think it's just politically correctness gone nuts?
No, it's just a guy being an asshole and he got busted, I think. I'm fine with him getting suspended, personally.
Now, what do you think about that? I mean, there's a whole, debate we could have here about the culture of pro wrestling and the way people should come up in the business or whatever. I'm not qualified to talk. I'm just some schmuck making a video game. But I was, I don't talk about this a lot. But years ago, I was interviewing a bunch of wrestlers for this project we were kind of sort of doing with Stampede Wrestling and the pavilion, that building in Calgary, like I said, where they wrestled, right? And I was interviewing guys who came up, like I talked to like Johnny Devine and some of the older guys like Dan Crawford, Cowboy, and Jason the Terrible and stuff, and they were talking about actually the way they were taught the business with Stu, and telling the stories of the dungeon, and it's not myth to hear them talk about it, like they're talking about like, grown men football players would go in there cocky, yeah, sure, Mr. Hart, show me some moves, da 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 da, and multiple guys told me that grown men would be vomiting and in tears and running, screaming from the house, never coming back. And like I asked the one guy, I was like, well, was it, is this, acceptable behavior, or was it like, was it abuse? And he's like, oh, well, flat out, it's total abuse. Absolutely. Physical, emotional torture. I'm like, well, why the hell would anyone put up with that? Just because it's this romantic idea of training with Stu and in the dungeon? And they were like, you really didn't know any different or any better back in the day. That's just like...
Well, he wasn't suspended for physical abuse, though. He was
really?
suspending.
That's what I heard.
No. That had nothing to do. It was not physical. It was emotional. He would be sitting there calling guys, fags and homos, and like it was verbal and like psychological kind of abuse, like just being it was bullying. It wasn't that he was like taking liberties with them physically. Like, remember that episode of Tough Enough where Hardcore Holly kind of was like taking liberties physically? It was now again, this is what I thought everything was based off of. Everything was about like the verbal and the like if you read the letters of the independent talent that kind of went through there. I know Joey Ryan was a big advocate against Bill DeMott, just saying, like, because he kind of went through some of that stuff, and it didn't have anything to do with physical abuse. It was all like I said, just kind of an emotional, using language that you're not supposed to be using, all that kind of stuff. So,
wow, because I wonder, like, you heard stories back in the day. I think Lance Storm was a big whistleblower about, Bradshaw backstage bullying people and stuff, And
yeah, I mean, I can't.
Sure.
We got a couple of people in chat kind of talking about some of the other stuff that he would do physically, but it's to my knowledge, everything that I read, it was like the verbal and the harassment, and like he would like really, really. I mean, some of the stuff was really, really, really nasty, and like I said, I think some of this stuff, I think there probably is an old school mentality that is part of that, but I don't know. It seems like if I don't know, just because that's the way it's always been done doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
And like I said, and let's be frank about it, that WWE is a publicly traded company now. The rules are different when you have publicly traded companies and that kind of thing. You can't. There are things that like maybe a private company could maybe get away with, but I don't know, when you have to deal with like a public eye and you're publicly traded, I think the rules for how you treat your employees, and which essentially what they are, you have a lot bigger of a spotlight on you, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're looking at racial slurs, you're looking at some of that kind of stuff, and so, like I said, that's kind of that's the only thing that upset me about that documentary, is that they really tried to paint him in a real positive light, and he was. I mean, like I said, you didn't know any better. You wouldn't have suspected anything different, but.
That sucks, man. I mean, things when you start getting like racial and sexist, it's just like, really go back to the old school where you came from, then, buddy. It's like,
like I said, I think, and I guess these are all. None of us are there, and
yeah.
So
Gotta bring Finley back, man.
Shit, I want no part of Finley, man. That guy was a tough SOB.
Yeah.
My God.
God, I watched a match, again, WWE Network. That, in combination with my PVR, is just dangerous combination. I was watching, it was Guerrero versus Finley, and I don't know where they got this match from, but Finley had, like, long blonde hair, and he just looked
well, this must have been WCW days then, right?
Yep. Yeah, back in the day. I love the old throwback stuff they put on there when you get, like, Spark Plug Bob Holly or whatever, and it's terrible. It's like, how was I a wrestling fan back then? This is terrible.
Well, I mean, I'm watching the same thing with these old primetime wrestling. I mean, these matches are all, although I have to say this much, these are all like, right now I'm in like 1986. And what I think is really, really interesting is that there aren't, their finishers aren't a big deal. Like Jake Roberts would have his DDT, and maybe a couple other guys would have their signature moves, but for the most part, most of the matches would end with like some kind of a clever ending. Like some kind of a backslide out of nowhere, or if it's a heel trying to get over, like a roll up with the tights, and it was never a structured, the match is over when this guy hits his finisher. Maybe when there's a couple of jobbers, but it doesn't seem very important back in the day. And so the matches, you really don't have any feel for who's going to win. I saw Barry O win a match, and I couldn't believe it.
That's hilarious, Barry O. I saw the Killer Bees the other day.
Sure, I said I'm having a riot. I said this is I have so much fun, and the matches are not like incredibly worked. Like you just tell, the athleticism is not really there. It's mostly just stomping and kicking and some rest holds and all this kind of stuff. But yet I'm still glued to it. The commentary's good. They're telling a good story. And yeah, like I said, you don't have a real good feel for who's going to win, which is half the fun.
One of my favorite things recently on the network was I saw a preview of the new Ultimate Warrior DVD, Always Believe or something.
Oh, okay.
Holy crap, what a 180. Put the guy over like he's the second coming of Christ.
Oh, compared to what was the real story of the Ultimate Warrior, or whatever that was called?
No, it was the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior.
That's what it was, yes.
And I'm thinking, do you guys think we forget the first DVD you put out about this guy where you buried him like he was the worst thing that ever got in a ring.
Well,
and now,
I think people start realizing that life's too short, and you get over it. Like I said, I was happy to see that he got his moment to kind of put all the make his peace, and I thought that was really, really nice. Because now even when Hogan's going out there putting him over, it's like, Jesus, Although I'll say this much, Hogan laid down for him clean at that WrestleMania, so he didn't just do that for anybody.
On this dungeon thing I was talking about, Bret Hart was talking about Warrior, and even he mentioned that it was really nice at the last WrestleMania. He said one of the things he looked forward to and was glad that happened, even if it was brief, was that him and Warrior got to have a couple moments alone and kind of make peace and water under the bridge. And
see, I didn't think Hitman had that much heat with anybody other than just obviously like Shawn Michaels or something like that. But
he might have said some crap on that first DVD.
Although Warrior had heat with pretty much everybody, though. I mean, he was just a bitter dude.
Somebody's asking about if we've heard about the recently announced Owen Hart DVD Blu-ray. I didn't know that existed.
Yep, that's coming because the family's really upset. They want no part of this DVD, and they're really upset that they're making it. That's how I heard about it.
Is it just his widow?
I think it's I know that I thought it was an article. I believe it was his widow. I don't know about the rest of the family, but I thought she had some comments that said something along those lines. So.
Well, I think Brett's cool with the company now, and he's probably helping with the damn DVD. Then, if it's going to be a thing, you'd think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think anything that preserves Owen's legacy. I always liked him. I always seemed like a real good guy. So hey, put him over.
They've got actually his wife actually manages and runs something called the Owen Hart Foundation, where they raise money for charity and whatnot. And they're actually doing a big event up in Calgary coming soon. And
cool.
She's doing good things in his name. I just think there's bad blood between.
I think it gets into the same stuff. Where it's a lie. It's a fine line between like a tribute and exploitation. You know what I mean? I think like if all those proceeds were going towards the Owen Hart and their family, or like towards a charity or something along those lines, I think it's one thing. But if it's just, hey, we're just gonna get rich off the library, and you guys aren't gonna see squat of it. I get it.
Alex, this mask is looking really badass with the holes and.
Well, as I say, I clearly have missed a ton of work on this thing. This thing looks awesome.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere here.
So is this damage to the mask, or is this like is it styled this way like originally, or like how do you see the holes and all this stuff?
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe it's damaged. I don't think it's like it's not. I don't want it to look like a manufactured. I want it to look like a weathered mask.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going for.
I can't wait to make this character bleed from a chair shot to the face and have the blood drip from out underneath the mask. Yeah, yeah, man, that's what I'm looking for.
That would be sweet, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see how we're gonna do blood and stuff.
Yeah, I just looking forward to getting rolling. That we've knock on wood made some moves to address our programming situation. So man, if things start moving forward with programming the way I hope it will, that would be fantastic. Hey, you guys, you know what? I hate to be a jam tart here, but
hate to be a what?
A jam tart. You never heard that? That's a Canadian.
Not even a little. a jam tart.
A jam tart, yeah. I gotta be a jam tart, man.
Oh my God.
My wife
Chat, help me out here. Have anybody heard of this term? Anyway, please. I'm assuming it's a derogatory term in nature.
I have to bow out here for a couple minutes, guys. I will. I'll be right back.
A couple minutes, or you're going to be back?
2 minutes, I will be back.
Oh, okay, fine. That's all good.
All right.
All right. Chat's going to have to help me out. Alex, can you help? Jam tart?
Sounds kind of like a Pop-Tart, maybe.
I'm going to have to like somebody's going to okay. Somebody else was chatting in here. They thought he said jam tart, and I was like, I don't think that's it. It sounds like a tart, a jam tart, and that's just going to get me all hungry because like I'm came back from the I hadn't been to the gym in like 2 weeks, and so naturally, the first time back, you have to go in and just go balls to the walls and like, do a bunch of biking. And I actually was doing stuff on the treadmill, and so I was feeling great and all this stuff. And I can already tell that I'm not going to be able to move tomorrow. It's total crap.
Yeah.
Because
I like how hungry you get after you work out sometimes. Like the next day you're like, man, I could just eat a whole everything.
I've got my brother's getting married in a couple of weeks, and they're all like cut and in shape, and I'm like and I'm like this tall skinny dude, but I've got like the biggest waistline in the family now, and I'm a skinny guy. And these other guys have got the washboard and all these things, and now I feel like total crap that because you have to put in your measurements to get all the suit and everything, and it turns out I'm like I got the biggest waistline in the family, so now I feel like, God damn it, I got to get down there and burn some of this off. So, but
that's funny.
It's all good. But,
that's funny. I have to
jam tart.
Jam tart. I have to be a jam tart and go be a daddy taxi here in a few minutes. So if anybody in the chat room has any, really good juicy questions, man, I would love to answer. Oh, here's a question. Where is the new programmer from? Well, let's not be too presumptuous here. We don't want to jinx it. But
we got a couple candidates. So yep.
Yeah, if we do indeed have candidate number one here joining the crew anytime soon, he's a good old American boy.
That's right.
Where is he from anyway?
Midwest.
Where did I say he was from? Midwest?
Midwest is safe.
Midwest is safe, yeah.
But we're getting there.
Yeah. I chatted with him on the phone the other day, and he was able to discuss the finer points of the game mechanics of Def Jam Vendetta. And you don't find people with that knowledge very often, so
I never played that one. I saw it, and I thought it was beautiful, but I never played it.
Great looking GameCube game. I had it on GameCube. And they did some cool stuff with the levels, because it's kind of like Backstage Assault, in which there was no standard wrestling-ish kind of venue, really. But they had some cool stuff. One of my favorite ones was an outdoor venue underneath a bridge, and the ring was surrounded by cars, with their headlights all pointed at the ring. It was pretty cool.
We had a question.
I think there was one level, with a ring in it. From what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of them had destructible ring barriers too. It was like in this Chinese kind of dance club or something, I think, and you could break the ring barriers.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember the everything looked just beautiful. Like I thought that, wow, this was just really, really something.
Def Jam Fight for New York was cool. It actually it expanded on the game mechanics, but it got rid of the ring pretty much, and you were throwing people into moving subways and stuff. But it was cool. Will you guys announce publicly when you officially sign the programmer? Well, that's a good question, actually, because we're kind of talking about how we're going to roll things out. We're being cautious and we're being careful here, and we won't know we have, you don't know you've got the right people until you're sure you've got the wrong ones, So we're going to start just kind of handing out certain features and tasks that we need to get done, see how things roll along, But yeah, I think once we become pretty certain that we've got the right guy, he's in it for the long haul, and he's not just with us in the good times and peeling out in the bad. Yeah, we'll definitely be introducing people. I think no sense in.
Well, and the other thing too is we've been trying to get away from the Pro Wrestling X savior. I mean, it happens to a lot of us where oh my God, it's the programmer, and he's here to save everything and all this stuff, and we're trying not to do that anymore. That these people are just they're people, they're part of a team, and we're trying to make sure they get all the support from our end too. That we're not just like, hey, cool, okay, here's all ideas. No, go make a wrestling game, and we'll talk to you in 3 weeks. Come back when you're done. That's not how it's going to work this time. So.
Well, yeah, exactly. And people are asking. Somebody asked me on Facebook, I think, if you got these candidates that are so good and they love making wrestling games, why the hell do they need you? Why would they join Pro Wrestling X when they can just make their own bloody game, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head there when you talk about the team. Like when I asked one of the programming candidates that question specifically, why aren't you just making your own game? You can clearly code it, and you've shown me what you can do. And even they say, like they're not, in particular, maybe a great artist, don't spend a lot of time marketing or doing stuff on social media, don't know anything about customer relations, and they would rather be on a team with, like, for example, like someone like, Cola doing kick-ass art and animation way better than programming art can ever be, and I think most people want to be part of something that's ultimately going to be way better than they could do on their own. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's always a mistake to try to do everything by yourself. It never works. It's too hard. It's too hard to do everything by yourself. It's not any fun. You don't have you don't have people to bounce ideas off of and all this stuff. I mean, like I said, you start looking at somebody like Dickie and Horn, how they were able to do what they did by themselves. I mean, that's astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing to me that they were able to pull that off.
But even, I think Dave Horn, and I constantly gush about my, like, man crush that I have on Dave Horn, because watching his kind of hobby career kind of take off in wrestling game development, he made all the right decisions, and he wasn't shy to his first game or two, I think he made on his own. Like, he did the art and animation. Right. He did like a Shockwave kind of flash wrestling game, and as soon as he was coding better than he was doing art, he got artists on board to help him, and that's why his games progressively not only get bigger feature-wise with code, because he also brings programmers aboard to help too, and why not, right? Even though he's a programmer himself, he's not shy to get help where he needs help in extra hours. So Dave Horn, I think, has always been one of the guys who knows exactly when it's time to ask for help, and he's not afraid to do it. He doesn't have an ego, you know what I mean? So I think he's the guy to watch in terms of, who's going to have, a pretty incredible game in 10 years. I think Dave Horn and whatever he does with Action Arcade Wrestling is...
The next version of Action Arcade Wrestling looks like it's promising. I want to see it.
Yeah, well, he changes. The only thing that he does that scares the hell out of me is he changes engines almost every game. He's confident, I guess, in his abilities to build a wrestling game in whatever graphics engine he chooses, but in my experience, man, every time we rebooted Pro Wrestling X in a new engine, it was like friggin' giving birth all over again, and painful, So
yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like I said, I've never gone through the process, but I think some of the stuff is that the engines are getting to be so powerful now that I really don't want to say that it doesn't matter. But I think what matters most is the assets and the stuff that you're putting in said game engine. And that's where you should concentrate in your time. I think these other things, like I said, that's coming from that's painting with a very wide brush. But I'm having a hard time believing in this day and age that something like Unreal versus Unity versus some of these other ones, that there really is a giant gap in functionality. Maybe there is. Maybe that's just my own ignorance. But it seems like these engines are all pretty mature.
Well, you know what? I think
Alex could speak to that more than I could, but
the only thing I'd add to that is, I mean, you're like pretty much on the money, but like nowadays, art assets aren't as specific to each game engine, so it, like, the stuff we're making could work in Unreal, it could work in I don't know, take your pick, Frost engine, any of them pretty much. With just a little bit of tuning. It'll be interesting to see what Valve's, when they release Source, or what is it, Source 2 or whatever it's called. I can't remember what they're naming it. That's going to be their next gen engine.
I think what's going to happen, I predict, and of course I'm always right about everything, I predict a huge revolution in wrestling game development, because I think what we're doing with Pro Wrestling X and how we're going to release access to art assets and modding support and whatnot, I see Pro Wrestling X almost filling a gap, like a void, perfectly in between game engine and wrestling game. I think there's so many people out there, and most of them are probably in our chat room probably feel this way, where they would love to make a wrestling game with their favorite style of wrestling. I'm sure there's somebody here that wishes they could make a great backyard wrestling game, or a great hardcore or female wrestling game or something, but they don't necessarily want to get into game development. But if you gave them, like, an open wrestling game platform like Pro Wrestling X, where we kind of solve all the core game mechanic problems, grappling, striking, pinning, and moving around a ring. If they could then take our game and almost treat it like a wrestling game engine, and they could tear it apart and turn it into a great Lucha Libre game or something like that. You know, I'm sure there's teams of modders out there that once Pro Wrestling X is robust enough, they're probably going to like tear it apart and build massive, almost complete game mods out of the damn thing. You know, I'm looking forward to what
Yeah,
people
it's
are
hard
gonna
to
be
say
able
where
to
the
do it.
future's going to go with any of this stuff, but you know, as soon as they're actually like grappling, we well, you know,
Yeah.
we might be onto something here.
Yeah, who knows, eh? Talking out of our ass for 10 years, but yeah, it's coming along. I think we're going to. I don't want to make promises again. Lord knows I hate breaking them, and I don't want anybody to get hit by a bus. But seeing what we've seen from programming candidates lately, oh God, I'm feeling good that this team is finally going to be, you know, complete with wrestling nerds. You know, that know how to make a wrestling game. And I think we're going to, when we do start pumping out the updates, I think they're going to be pretty significant and encouraging. So I'm not making any dates yet, not making any promises on when stuff is happening, but promise to show up every Friday and talk about it, and promise to show up every Tuesday and show you guys stuff. So it's all good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
On that note, I believe I need to peel out and do some parenting. So, you guys going to shut her down for the night, or are you going to keep rocking?
Well, let me see. Am I powering the Skype here, or did you call me?
I called you there.
Oh, okay. So I would have to call Alex back anyway. Let's see. What time is it getting to be? It is midnight my term. I could wrap. Alex, what are you feeling like doing here?
It's your call, man.
If you're in the
I've been
zone,
on
we can keep
super
going
long.
for a little while. Oh, people are like, see a jam tart. That's pretty funny. Jam tart. Jesus Christ, you Canadians.
I know, right? It's all good. Well, on that note, I'm at least going to mute my headset and go be a daddy here.
Yeah, why don't you just do that? That way we'll
Sure.
just keep this conversation going, then I can just blast it out whenever
Yeah.
we get tired of talking.
On that note, then, I want to thank everybody for showing up in the chat room. Grim Joe, Chris, Meet, Amazing Red. All you guys, man. Thanks for showing up. Some great questions. Thank you so much. I don't know why, man. I look forward to questions. It's almost like a challenge where, like, give me a question I can't answer. Go ahead, I dare you. But it's all good. Thank you to Eric and Cola. I hope that before long we've got programming stuff broadcasting soon on Twitch to show you guys. But in the meantime and in between time, that's it. I'm done. You guys have fun chatting, and I'll talk to you all soon.
All right, peace.
See you, bud.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, Alex, this thing is like jamming along. I totally missed a week, and it's like, God, he looks totally different now.
Oh yeah, hey.
Because
Well, I've been kind of-
the
I've been-
singlet looks a lot different.
Yeah, after the broadcast last week, I kind of finished off the like patterning stuff. That just like his, you know, the
Mhm.
graphic elements.
Yeah, totally
Yeah,
digging it.
I don't know. Not the
That's a lot of
best
shine,
one to
baby.
preview. Yeah. I always kind of do just like some anatomy stuff. When the stream ends, just
I was
because
saying his lats look a hell of a lot better.
yeah, his from the side view, I really gave him more chest and more.
Yeah, that lat
I
definition.
just like
you know,
yeah.
it's like looking in a mirror.
one of those wobbly
Oh
mirrors.
God, sorry, chat.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I don't know.
I think it's look pretty tight.
It's coming along.
We have a
we're
question
getting
like,
there.
how long do you think you have? Like, what else do you have to work on? Like, what kind of like when you see that character in the state it's in right now, what more do you see? Like, what more do you want to add to it?
So like the body is mostly there, but most of it is gone. But I usually do a pass of like sort of fine skin detail, like
Mm-hmm.
just like skin bumps and stuff.
Just
really
so it's
help.
not so uniform, or it's just kind of adds a
Yeah,
little more
it's
realism.
not like plastic, like an action figure finish. So I got to do that everywhere. You can kind of see it on the head.
So how does that mask stay on? Are there straps that you just have removed, or
Yeah, they.
not removed, but like turned invisible while you're working?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I remember the headgear now. Now I remember.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because the whole idea was that he wrestles with that thing on. Now, was that was because it was a hard mask, like it's a hard plastic mask, right? Or like, what's the material of that mask?
Well, the face is going to be. I was thinking like a soft leather.
Okay, leather. That's right. That's
this
right.
stuff.
Because you wouldn't be able to wrestle with it if it was hard plastic. I mean, that's like a foreign object at a certain point.
Yeah, and then this would be leather as well. I think these straps.
I would think
stuff.
like kind of like a Mankind type of a harness type of thing.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. I'm gonna go and put like detail, like I guess like leather.
Some studs,
like distressed
maybe,
leather.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this like all the fastening as well. You
Right.
know? Yeah, like you're saying. Yeah, studs, rivets, whatever, just to kind of get
I
it.
don't know how anybody would be able to breathe in that damn thing. I guess you'd
Yeah,
have some
I don't
air
know.
like that would kind of escape underneath it, but it's got to be a
Yeah,
challenge with those masked wrestlers in general, like to be able to get the air in there.
For sure, yeah.
Got a
I
lot
could
of
cut
Vader
some holes
comparisons in the chat, and I definitely can see it. He's not the super heavyweight, but he's got that. Yeah, he's got that don't screw with him look. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I
still think that elephant mask was one of the best things I ever saw in wrestling.
Which one was that?
Vader's old entrance ring attire where he would come down and they were like, it was shoulder pads, and it was like an elephant face, and it would have like steam that would shoot out of this thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so, man.
Oh my goodness! All right, hang on here. We're gonna have to show. I'll have to show you a link here. Because this thing was the most bad. Because chat knows exactly what. Chat knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. Am I still sharing on Skype, by the way? Or?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. I'm not seeing the red. I'm not seeing the red line on my screen anymore, so I wasn't totally sure there.
Let me see if I can. Trying to find a really good picture of it. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It had LED. It had some. This thing was absolutely incredible. Image. Do you have Do you have your Twitch broadcasting? Like, can you actually see the screen of what we're broadcasting?
Well, my second monitor. No, I don't have Twitch open.
Okay.
I'm only working on one monitor right now, so.
Because I'm going to paste something.
I could only see it, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to send me the link or something.
I just put a link in the chat window, and I'm going to put a window to it. So that chat can see what I'm talking about. Because this thing is bad ass. Because literally he would like set it down. It was like a full blown like a football set of shoulder pads, and he had like a remote control, and the eyes would start blinking, and like fire extinguisher steam would shoot out of the top of the mask. It was incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah, because I put a link in chat, and then we got a bunch of people that are putting up the like YouTube links that you can actually see the animation. And, in fact, I might do that too here because it's sweet.
See if I can hide my contacts here.
Yeah. That's all good. Everybody knows who I am.
You put it in the Skype chat?
I
you
put it
said?
in the chat.
Oh, put it in your Skype thing. Because I don't have Twitch. I don't have Twitch open right now.
No. It's in the. It should be in the Skype chat, not in the Twitch chat. Here, I'll send it to you directly. As soon as I can figure out where my blankety blank windows are.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to do like a skull design on here. Someone had the idea last week.
There you go. I
Or
just
a
sent it
couple
to
weeks
your
ago.
personal Skype.
But I don't know if I'm liking this per se.
Yeah, you'll dig this. This is pretty sweet. Yeah, definitely follow that YouTube video there, Meet Sim, because that thing is badass. I'm gonna see if I can find the YouTube video itself here.
Yeah. How come I'm not seeing it? Are you looking on my on Twitch? Can you see my empty?
Yeah, I can see. I
Skype?
can see it. Trying to see if there's another way I can do it. Yeah,
I could
'cause
probably
then-
just Google it. I could just Google.
Yeah, just Google Van Vader mask elephant. It's a and go images. Yeah, that fourth one.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, that thing is sweet. That's the one that I sent you. And yeah, the whole it shot like fire, or not fire, but like steam out of it. But you see like a 450-pound guy walking down the ring looking like that? Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'm looking at the. You finding some memes for. Okay, so. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the. There it is. Anyway, let's see if he shoots the steam out of. And look at that. That is just insane. Yeah, because it looks on the back of it. It looks like almost like a jetpack, and that's where like the steam or like the fire extinguisher cartridges are. Yeah, the smoke. Oh, that's Mr. Saito. So cool. Yeah, because I remember when he came out, WCW, I think, I remember seeing Vader for the very first time, and it was just ridiculous. And I thought, you got to be kidding me.
I don't know where I saw him first. Probably WWF at the time.
Probably. Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
depends on
he
how
had a
long you've been
stint
watching.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was a Vader mark from a very, like I said, for a very long time.
really?
When he first came out in WCW, he was just like, he just came out, and he was originally, if memory serves, chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he was one of these guys that they kind of built it. They came in and they built him up to be like, the monster of the week that Sting would fight, kind of a deal. And so they built him up like crazy, and he literally broke a guy's back on a power bomb. It was sick. I remember watching it on WCW Saturday Night, and it was one of the, he's delivered like 2 of the 3 of the, like the worst power bombs I've ever seen, where the guy would just get absolutely annihilated. And yeah, and so I just, it's astonishing watching that guy work. And he had a couple of really, really good matches with Flair. In fact, when Flair won the title for the last time, I believe, he beat Vader for it. And it's just a wonderful match. I mean, Vader could work. He had some just insane matches with Foley. That if Foley had a part of it for his DVD was devoted to that rivalry, because Vader was the one that, well, he didn't really rip Cactus. Well, I guess he kind of did, where he was the one who ripped Cactus's ear off in the middle of the match in Germany. Yeah, you remember how Foley used to do that spot? He didn't really do it a lot in his WWF run, where he would like go into the ropes and like tie himself up by the neck, like in the ropes. Dude. And they were wrestling over in Germany, and I guess the ring ropes were a lot tighter over there, and he went to do that spot, and he got like caught up, and he was like suffocating, and like his ear kind of got like partially torn, and they were able to get him out of the ropes, and then the next blow, Vader throws like a left hook or something, and you could see his ear fall off in the middle of the match. Came off on the ring, awesome. And the referee grabbed it and like gave it to somebody at ringside.
I love that it came off from like a punch.
Yeah,
it must have looked so
metal. It was sick. I mean, it just literally like dropped to the ground, and yeah. So ever since then, like Vader was known as the guy who knocked his ear off.
Oh, crazy! Yep. I thought it just got like pinched off from the rope or something.
Well, it did, but it needed it, so it was like torn a good deal.
Yeah,
but it kind of needed like the final blow, and that did it. Because you could see it when you slow it down. You see you see it falling to the ground, and the referee went by and like picked it up, and like I guess they gave it to Ric Flair backstage or something like that, and he didn't know what the hell to do with it, so they just put some ice on it, and there's just nothing you can do. You're screwed.
Crazy.
Yeah,
so he never got it like stitched back on.
No, he's missing an ear, man. That's when he cut his hair really short. Back when he was becoming a GM, like that, it was totally obvious. So he ended up growing his hair back out again to hide the fact that, yeah, it's just a big bunch of meat cartilage back there. It's gross. Sammy G was an overseas tour. It was a Germany tour. It looks like Grim is one of the chat people. Looks like has posted the link to the video in which it happened. So.
Oh, cool. Oh,
yeah, there's a bunch of them online. Well, God, dude, Vader's another one. He had one where his eye came out in the middle of a match.
What?
He was fighting. God, who was the redneck cowboy that was really big over in Japan? I can't think of his name now. Chat, help me out here. Son of a bitch. It was just very, very famous brawler over in Japan. American guy. Had like the full. Did like a Texas. Stan Hansen. Thank you much, chat. He was kind of like he played an outlaw, redneck, cowboy type deal. He used to come to the ring with like a bull rope and a bell, cowbell, and the whole 9 yards.
Sure.
And him and Vader would have like these classic brawls, right? And I don't remember exactly the story. I mean, if you look online, there's a couple of shoot videos of it, but basically either Vader got too stiff or Hansen came out and got too stiff, and he knocked Vader's eye out in the middle of a match, and he had to like push it back in the middle of a match. And then it turned into like a shoot fight because Vader completely lost his shit, and we're like slugging back and forth. Yeah, so we've got people posting the link in. It's a full blown eye pop where the eye came out of the socket.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it was like still attached by like to his brain.
Yes.
But
and he had the wherewithal to like just pop it back. Yeah. I haven't had.
damn.
I couldn't look because I don't like eyes. Like, kind of freak me out.
Yeah.
But yeah, because he's told the
God
story in a
damn.
few different shoot videos, and if you watch the match, because Hansen was a stiff motherfucker like anybody else, and of course Vader's not going to put up with that crap, and I think it was. I think it was one of those deals where either he hit him with the bell or he hit him with a stiff shot, and Vader was like, staggered and kind of put it back in and popped it back into its socket. Oh, I'm getting grossed out even thinking about it. And then it was just straight up shoot fight. And there was, I guess, pretty significant even backstage heat, which is understandable.
Oh, dude, yeah. Even if it was an accident.
Well, I mean, it's obviously an accident. Nobody was coming to do that. I mean, you don't.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because I guess they were buddies. I mean, they were, two Americans. What is the term, gaijin or whatever it is that the Americans fighting over in Japan, and so I would imagine there's some camaraderie there, but it sounded like they patched it all up, but yeah, it's like he said that it was a hell of a brawl, and good lord, I want no piece of that. That's one of those where it's like, hey, wrestling's fake, right? And they're like, nope, some of it's just pretty real. But yeah, if you listen to some of those shoot videos and stuff, man, it's so Vader's got some deep history. He's hurt a bunch of guys, but I guess he's a real big baby, like off the outside of the ring. He's like he's like a real estate mogul or something like that, or I don't know. I can't remember that he was in that Beyond the Mat video. But yeah, man, he comes out and he's wrecked some people pretty good. So
Sure, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be like trapped in the corner taking some of those elbows and fists. My God.
Yeah,
no
dude,
way.
He's huge. He could just like sit on you, and that'd be it.
Well, they said that because Mick Foley did one of those Life and Times, DVDs with the WWE, and he talked about how there was like that there was a couple of matches. There was one that was kind of a blow off to a feud, and he gave like Cactus Jack like a Samoan drop. Only like with this, no. Foley jumped on his back like he's going to give him a sleeper hold, right? And Vader's solution, they were out on one of the entrance ramp in WCW that's like level with the ring that goes all the way into the back. So they're fighting out on this thing. Jack hops up on his back and starts putting him in a sleeper hold or something along those lines, and Vader just like falls backwards with all his weight, just like drops down.
Yeah.
And Foley said he thought his career was over. Like, because he said like every one of his bones in his body just like went crunch, because it was like the full 450, full 50 right on his back, and he just said he thought he was dead, because he was just like his whole body was just completely crushed. He said it was one of the first times in like wrestling where he thought he was going to have to like call in the insurance policy, that it was over for him, But it was a hell of a bump. I mean, those two were like went toe to toe like crazy. So, because I still remember that when Vader power bombed him on the outside in the cement. I was like, I remember that. I jumped out of my couch and went like, "Holy crap! Did you see that?" Because that was a hell of a bump too. Dude, that mask is looking pimp.
Yeah, I might stick around after and like try and figure out some design, some design stuff, because I do like the skull idea of having a skull, but I want to have like this red sort of element, but maybe like a black just a barely visible like skull silhouette on the mask as well.
Oh yeah, not quite
another layer.
Yeah, not quite Punisher, but something a little more subtle.
Yeah, something subtle.
Because that would be gimmick infringement.
But yeah.
Yeah, because anything that gives it character, I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess I never noticed the amount of color that was in that original concept. I was always so focused on just like the mask and like the darker colors that, yeah, I kind of forgot about all the color that was in the original singlet that you had there. Because that is like the perfect outfit for him too. You know, that double singlet.
Yeah, a lot of big dudes would wear these, eh?
Yeah, they got a guy now. It's actually kind of fallen out of vogue, but there's a guy now coming up in NXT. I think it's Bully Busick or there's no, what the hell is his gimmick? I can't Bull something. And,
yeah, no, you know what? I watched one episode,
and he's got the double.
Just the other day.
The double singlet. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy. I like his. Everyone really gets into his intro, and they like scream his name and stuff. It reminds me of ECW.
Yeah,
reminds me of Balls Mahoney. And
I actually think that is like, you can see like the DNA of the idea, right there, because they get out there and they chant ball, ball, ball.
Yeah, dude. The crowd makes such a huge difference, man.
It's I always think that's such an underrated. Like it can't be a 5-star match unless the crowd is awesome. You know what I mean? Like you could have like the big technician, but if there's only 20 people in the stands, like I can't get into it. The only thing I have problem with NXT is like they're all, I don't know, it almost feels too like they're too into it. Like they're almost, not that they're being paid, but it's like it feels like it's like they're acting a little bit, you know, like they're going over the top a little bit more than they need to. It doesn't feel as organic as like if you're watching the old ECW stuff. But you know, they're fun those NXT is fun to watch. They got a big match. What is it? Owens and Zayn are fighting, I think, this week. That they're hyping it up for.
That's like their. I don't know. Do they do pay-per-views or are they just big shows?
They just do big shows. Every once in a while, they do like NXT. I think they call them like NXT Takeover, where like Wednesday night they broadcast live, and it's kind of treated like a pay-per-view, where they'll have like a main event, and it's only about an hour to 2 hours, depending on the length of the episode. Usually, it's about 2 hours. But they'll use it to blow off some feuds and, you know, wrestle for the title and all that stuff. And they're trying to get Owens and Zayn. I think they're squaring off.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a good idea. I mean, I doubt like they could even really sell a pay-per-view too much. So
well, they're not. I mean, God, they keep giving away this whole network. It's kind of pathetic because I've been paying for it all the way along, and I'm like, hey, look, you can do this month for free, and this month for free, and this month for free, and it's like, well, shit, I'm paying for it, but I'm enjoying it. I said, I love watching the old stuff. Although I heard somebody that said that nobody watches the old stuff, that it's all like NXT and a couple of the other. There was a really good Roman Reigns 24/7 kind of a deal, and that was really, really well done. They did a good job with that, kind of telling his whole bio and all that stuff, and kind of did all the behind the scenes of, you know, his little WrestleMania main event and all that stuff, which was really interesting. You know, just about, you know, how it was, you know, you'd be scared shitless going out there, you know, and or at least really, really nervous. I would be. Even just stepping in the ring against Brock would scare the shit out of me. God, he would tear me. Like, Brock would just, like, I wouldn't even survive. Like, I'd probably be out for like 10 months, like with an F5. He would just break me right in half.
Yeah, I wouldn't be afraid of the F5. I'd be afraid of like
those knees. He's got some vicious knee strikes.
Even the German suplexes.
Oh, good lord!
A little bit more deadly.
I've got a bad neck. I call it the summer of the trampoline, where one of my neighbors got a trampoline, and of course it's a wrestling ring, and I would just spend my whole summer just like taking bumps because they would all usually like gang up against me, and even though I was like the oldest, I was still, like I said, I was a little tall, skinny dude, but you know, I was easy to do moves to. so I took a bunch, and I remember just like take so many power bombs and suplexes, and I remember one time I fell off the damn trampoline and like right on my top of my head. Should have broken my neck, but you know, it's typical, you know, it's typical white trash, you know, where you just hey, let's trampoline. This was before they made him put the little safety cages and all that stuff on there. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, so it's a wonder I'm even walking straight. And so for me to like take like a German suplex, like especially if I like over rotated and landed more like on the top of my shoulders and on my neck rather than like flat on my back, oh my God, I'd be done. I'd be done.
You need to do some yoga.
Shit, I tried. I'm doing DDP yoga. I swear to God I am. That's not like a cheap plug. He's not paying me to say that. But it actually does work.
Like it?
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it because I always hated, like, yoga is nice because it's like flexibility and strength training and all that stuff, which is really, really good for you. But I hated all the spiritual stuff that would go along with it. Like, I didn't need to mellow out. I didn't need to namaste and all that kind of stuff. No, I didn't do that. So he takes the whole thing and just like guys it up, for lack of a better term. And I really enjoy it. I really, really do. You know, it's a little embarrassing admitting it, but shit, you know, it does work. It does. It's gotten me a lot more limber. See, Sammy G's got my back here. He knows.
Yeah, man, I've been thinking about trying it. Like,
well, what I ended up doing is I got the audio versions of it, and I had seen a couple like there's a couple of like he had posted a couple samples or something, or I was able to kind of like watch and check out the moves a little bit, and then like I had kind of the audio, so it was helpful. Like I said, I could always loan it to you too.
Yeah, I'd check it out. Anyways,
because even if you're like, because you'd be able to tell within like the first couple, like, because he's kind of got like 8 or 9 different routines. And like some of which are like the very beginning basic, hey, here's how do you do, and they're like little 20-minute things, all the way up to like these, 60 to 70-minute super intense, like you'll be throwing up in like 5 minutes kind of deal. I haven't worked my way up to those yet, but even a couple, like I've done like the 50-minute one, and it works you, man. It works you.
No, I believe it, dude. The plyometric stuff, yeah.
Yeah, because it's all like body weight type of stuff. Like Jericho said, he's done lifting weights because he's just using his own body weight now. Yep.
Oh,
yeah, Jericho said he totally quit weight training.
Big.
Yeah, he said he was able to maintain a physique through the yoga.
Dude, yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he still looks good. And once you kind of establish your base, you don't need that heavy bulk anymore. Especially nowadays where you're having to be maybe more speed, where you don't have to take so many bumps and when you're like a full-time worker or something. But
yeah, because when I saw him next to Cena, and I was like, man, he looked like his arms looked just as big,
Yeah, I mean, and these guys are just, I think so. I think that exercise has come a long way with all that stuff too. That
sure,
they just, people figure this stuff out better. But all right, my man, my voice is starting to tap out here.
Oh yeah, I got to run too. I was trying to.
Nope, it's cool. Well, thank you, chatters, for hanging out tonight. Keep the questions coming. ProWrestlingX.com, Twitter @ProWrestlingX, Facebook ProWrestlingX. Find us in lots of places. We've got an email list on our website. We send out an email update once a week, and we're trying to shoot out these things every Tuesday. Usually we're trying to shoot for like 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern, and then we just go until we quit, and there's no real structure. But if you got questions, by all means, email us, find us on the social platforms and fire away. And yeah, we're going to keep knocking this stuff out. Thanks for the ones that keep on coming back. Make sure you become you favorite the Twitch, or you become a fan of the channel or something along those lines, and should get an alert when we broadcast and all that stuff. But yeah, always a pleasure, gentlemen. Or I guess it's probably gentlemen here tonight. I haven't seen any ladies pop in.
Yeah,
but,
most likely.
Mostly sausage. It's the Pro Wrestling Sausage Fest. Let's just be honest about it. But that's all right. That's all right. We've had some in here before, and it's all cool. But yeah, thanks for hanging out tonight. Thank you, Cola, and we'll tell Dave how things went, and yeah, we'll start posting the archives and all that stuff. We've been uploading this stuff to like our YouTube channel, so we'll try to get some.
Nice. And have you got it on the Steam page yet, or
not yet because I'm a
blockers
moron.
there?
I'm a moron. I just haven't done it yet.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, no, I mean I get it. I got to get on this myself. But yeah, we're trying to get the word out and that this thing isn't dead and good things coming for the future. Fingers crossed. So take care, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cola. We'll check in with you guys later. See ya.
See you, man.